In my previous life, just after I graduated from college, my boyfriend, Ryan Miller, suggested a trip to the mountains for some extreme whitewater rafting. I tried to dissuade him, pointing out that the rapids there were steep and dangerous, making accidents likely. Ryan listened to my concerns, and we didn't go. However, other classmates who went ended up capsizing their rafts. Some drowned, while others suffered lung infections or brain damage. A few years later, Ryan and I got married and had a child. I thought life was perfect until the day I was too weak to get out of bed after giving birth. Ryan dragged me to the bathroom and forced my head into the toilet bowl, suffocating me. His last words to me were filled with hatred. If it weren't for you stopping me back then, she wouldn't have died. It was then I realized Ryan had blamed me all along for the death of his childhood sweetheart, Lily Parker, who drowned during that rafting trip. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day Ryan asked me about the rafting trip. Babe, my friends and I are planning a trip to the mountains in a couple of days to try out that extreme whitewater rafting. They say it's the most thrilling one in the country. Will you come with me? Please. Ryan's face loomed large in front of me. A wave of suffocating fear surged through me, and I gasped for air, needing a moment to calm down. On the table lay the brochure for the rafting trip. It boldly advertised, 300-meter drop. Not for the faint-hearted or those with heart conditions. Anna, this is the perfect birthday gift we found for Ryan. It's guaranteed to be thrilling and fun. Besides, Ryan loves adventure. You wouldn't let his birthday be disappointing, would you? Lily said, batting her eyes as if trying to brainwash me. She even threw a flirtatious glance at Ryan, who returned it, their gazes full of unspoken intimacy. In my previous life, I had naively believed their relationship was purely platonic childhood friendship. But now, I clenched my hands tightly, forcing myself to remain calm. Back then, both of them had eagerly pushed me to join the rafting trip. I refused, citing the risks, the steep drop, the likelihood of capsizing, and the poor management of the new attraction. I warned them that, in the mountains, rescue might not arrive in time if something went wrong. Lily's face darkened immediately. What are you trying to say? Anna, if you don't want to go, fine. But we put so much thought into planning this for Ryan. And now you're just dismissing it. Even Ryan seemed displeased. Anna, Lily is my best friend. She'd never put me in harm's way. I ignored Ryan's instinctive defense of Lily and apologized to her. Then I dragged Ryan out of the restaurant, leaving Lily behind, muttering, "Coward, if you won't go, I'll go myself." Back in our apartment, I compiled news reports about rafting accidents and sent them to Ryan. Though reluctant, he eventually decided against going after reading about fatalities caused by rafting. As predicted, disaster struck on the day Lily and her group went rafting. Their raft capsized, and rescue workers, distracted by smoking in the woods, didn't arrive in time. Lily, who couldn't swim, drowned, while the others suffered varying injuries. Ryan had hugged me tightly afterward, his face filled with relief. Thank you, Anna. If it weren't for you, I might have died out there too. We got married and had a child. For a while, life seemed serene and happy, but just a year after our wedding, Ryan killed me, accusing me of causing Lily's death. He took our child and inherited my family's wealth, only to drive my parents and child to the streets, where they froze to death. Now, as I looked at Ryan and Lily, I forced a smile. Ryan, it's your birthday, so of course, you should decide what we do. I'll go wherever you want. Ryan beamed, pleased. I knew my baby was the best. Lily's expression soured. Anna, I thought you didn't like adventures. Are you just pretending for Ryan's sake? She clung to Ryan's sleeve. If Anna doesn't want to go, we shouldn't force her. The rest of us can go with you. Suppressing my disgust at her fake concern, I kept smiling. Oh no, I'm excited about it. Let's start packing. Ryan. I dragged Ryan out of the room, leaving Lily fuming behind us. Once home, I began packing eagerly. Ryan, however, seemed worried. Anna, you said that place is dangerous. Are you sure about this? He handed me his phone, showing a promotional video of the rafting site. The footage showed a near vertical drop, almost 90 degrees, with the raft plunging into the rapids and disappearing for a moment before re-emerging. The comments above the video read, "Morning ride, afternoon retrieval, evening wake. Looks deadly, but it's not safe. Great way for companies to downsize. Survivors get to brag. Losers get left behind." Ryan hesitated. "Babe, didn't you say you wanted to do something challenging for your birthday this year? This seems perfect." I smiled serenely. "Exactly, Ryan. Let's make this birthday unforgettable. Besides, if this project is open to the public, they must ensure it's safe. There are so many staff members watching over it. Nothing will happen. Trust me," I said softly, trying to reassure Ryan. "If you're really scared, I can call Lily now and tell her we won't go." I picked up my phone, pretending to make the call. I'll go. Ryan snatched the phone out of my hand, clearly panicking. Late that night, I woke up to find the bed empty. I got up to look for him and found Ryan on the balcony, video chatting with someone. His face lit up with laughter. In my previous life, how had I never noticed that there was something between the two of them? "Keep laughing, Ryan. This time, I'll personally send you and your precious Lily straight to hell." On the way to the extreme rafting site, Lily began her antics again. First, she claimed to get carsick and insisted she couldn't sit in the back seat. She made me move so she could sit next to Ryan, leaning against him whenever the car jolted. I closed my eyes, trying to ignore her, but she refused to let me off so easily. "Anna," she said sweetly, "before we start rafting, we'll have to sign a waiver of liability. If you're scared, it's not too late to back out now." She turned to look at me, her eyes filled with smugness and provocation. "Sure, pull over then. I'll just grab a taxi home," I replied calmly, taking off my headphones and looking her directly in the eye. "No way," she exclaimed, caught off guard. "We're almost there, and it's dangerous for you to be alone. You can't leave now," Ryan interjected, looking uneasy. "Yeah, Anna, don't listen to her nonsense. It's not scary at all," Ryan's friends chimed in, trying to ease the tension. "I just feel like Lily doesn't like me very much," I said, pretending to be hurt. "I already agreed to come, but she keeps saying it's unsafe and not suitable for me." My voice trembled slightly, playing the part perfectly. Lily hadn't expected me to counter her so directly. Her mouth opened, but no words came out for a long moment. Then she stammered, "Anna, you've misunderstood me. I was just looking out for you." I pursed my lips, letting tears glisten in my eyes. "If you really don't like me, Lily, just say so. I'll leave. There's no need to repeatedly remind me that I'm not suited for this. I know you've always looked down on me, thinking I'm not good enough for Ryan. You didn't really want me here, did you? Fine. I'll just leave. If it's a game of playing innocent, two can play that." Ryan frowned, clearly embarrassed. He shot Lily a look. "Lily, apologized to her already?" "Yeah, Lily," his friends echoed. "Look at how upset you've made Anna. Say you're sorry." Lily pouted, clearly unhappy but forced out a reluctant apology. "Sorry," she mumbled. I put my headphones back on and said no more. Up front, Lily and Ryan continued their playful banter, practically glued to each other. The mountain scenery was breathtaking, with towering trees and endless rolling hills. When we arrived at the rafting site, it was time to sign the liability waiver. Ryan hesitated, his pen hovering over the paper for a long moment. "Do we really have to sign this? What if something happens?" he asked nervously. "Don't worry, Ryan," Lily said, sidling close to him. Her chest nearly brushed against his arm. "I picked this especially for your birthday. It's guaranteed to be thrilling." "Exactly, Ryan," his friends added, slapping his shoulder. "It's your birthday. Let's do something exciting to celebrate." Ryan turned to me, conflicted. "Anna, do you really want to do this?" His eyes pleaded with me, clearly hoping I would say no. After years of being with him, I could read him like a book. He didn't want to go but needed me to make the decision for him. Looking at his pitiful expression, I wavered for a moment. Could it be that this time, his fear would change the outcome? But then I remembered the previous life. After we got into our dream graduate program, Ryan had tentatively suggested giving up our spots to apply to another school. a lesser-known university in Lily's hometown. Later, I learned that Lily had planned to attend that school. On the night of his birthday, Ryan had seemed distracted, repeatedly checking his phone under the excuse that his advisor was contacting him. I pushed those thoughts aside and looked at him steadily. If it's for your birthday, Ryan, I'm happy to go. Let's do it. I didn't notice his bloodshot eyes or the hatred lurking in their depths. After we got married, Ryan often used work as an excuse to stay away, leaving me shut out. Once, while tidying the study, I found his secret stash of photos of Lily. On the night Lily died, he had come home drunk, knocking on my door. And that was how we ended up with our first child. When I gave birth, weak and lying in the hospital bed, desperately needing his support, he hired a nanny and never visited me again. I thought he was just busy, but in reality, he was mourning Lily and couldn't bear to face me. The memory of him later forcing my head into the toilet, blaming me for stopping him from going on the rafting trip, snapped me back to reality. Ryan, everyone's gone to so much effort to celebrate your birthday. As your girlfriend, of course, I have to come along. Go ahead and sign the waiver. We still need to get our gear, I said, smiling sweetly at him. Under everyone's urging, he finally signed the waiver and joined us on the bus up the mountain. When it was time to change into our gear, more drama unfolded. I had done my homework and came fully prepared, wearing long sleeves and pants for protection. Beyond the standard issue helmet and life jacket provided by the park, I had spent a hefty sum on additional protective gear, including elbow and knee pads. Lily pointed at me and burst out laughing. Anna, you're being way too cautious. You look like a middle-aged woman in that outfit. Ryan's expression turned disapproving as he glanced at me. Lily, in contrast, wore a skimpy tank top and shorts, her fair skin on full display, attracting plenty of attention from other tourists. Smugly, she added, Ryan clearly likes my style. Anna, you should take notes and learn. Don't talk nonsense. Ryan interrupted hastily, clearly worried I'd pick up on something. He even reached out to cover Lily's mouth. To stand out, Lily had purchased a cute, cartoonish helmet online. In an effort to flaunt her figure, she refused to fasten her life jacket properly. I immediately noticed the helmet lacked a proper safety certification. If she hit something during the rafting trip, it would shatter on impact. Ryan must have noticed too. He glanced between Lily and me before saying, Anna, why don't you give Lily your knee pads and helmet? Although I had prepared myself mentally, his audacity still stunned me. Ryan, I said coldly, I spent almost $800 on this gear. Why should I give it to her? Because her face is bigger than mine. Ryan replied self-righteously. Anna, you can swim. Lily can't. Even if the raft flips, you'd be able to protect yourself. Lily's been my best friend since childhood. Can't you show her some kindness out of consideration for me? I rolled my eyes, looking back on my past life. I marveled at how foolish I had been to stick by this pair. They deserved nothing less than utter ruin. If you care so much about her, why didn't you buy her proper equipment yourself? The park provides helmets and life jackets, and she's the one refusing to wear them. There's a store right over there. If you're so worried, why don't you buy her something better? I pointed at the shop sign nearby. Lily looked touched, her eyes wide with gratitude as she gazed at Ryan. You're still looking out for me. Ryan, you're so sweet. Ryan's face turned red, then pale. Gritting his teeth, he led Lily to the store. I adjusted my knee and elbow pads, knowing full well that Ryan wouldn't spend hundreds or even thousands on protective gear that could only be used once. After all, I had always covered his expenses, from clothing to food to rent, because his family's financial situation wasn't great, and he was too proud to work part-time. Without my support, he wouldn't have survived on his measly $500 monthly stipend. Sure enough, after a long delay, Ryan and Lily returned. Lily's expression was less than pleased as she held up the gear Ryan had bought her. A flimsy disposable rain poncho that cost $5. Ryan's friends and I stifled our laughter as best we could. What's so funny? Lily said indignantly. Ryan only bought me this rain poncho because he didn't want me catching a cold if I got wet. I smirked internally. So, Ryan's supposed love for her was worth a grand total of $5? As we boarded the rafts, Lily clung to Ryan's arm, stopping him from sitting with me. Ryan, can you sit with me? I'm only brave enough if I'm with you. Ryan hesitated. After all, I was his girlfriend, least officially. Anna. Lily turned to me with an exaggerated pout. You've been with Ryan for years. Can't you let me have just 2 hours with him? Please. Anna. You can swim. Ryan added, thinking his justification sounded reasonable. It doesn't matter who you sit with, but if I sit with Lily, I can help her if the raft flips. I smiled, keeping my tone light. I don't mind at all. Really, I don't. After all, who knows if either of you will make it back alive? Lily beamed and eagerly dragged Ryan onto the raft she'd picked out. I stayed back, waiting to board with Ryan's friends. During the rafting trip, Lily posted a status on her private social media account. A little getaway with my favorite person. It read, accompanied by a picture of her and Ryan cheek to cheek, both grinning broadly. Meanwhile, Ryan also posted something visible to everyone but me, bringing the girl I love to experience this adventure. Lily replied in the comments with a koi emoji, and their interaction was nauseatingly saccharine. Looking back at their raft, I saw them practically glued together, exchanging tender gazes. Lily hadn't entered the picture until after Ryan and I started dating. I thought she was just his childhood friend and never overanalyzed their relationship. Ryan had often lamented how hard his life had been, losing his parents young and working tirelessly to get into college. Feeling sorry for him, I shared everything I had. But the truth was, Ryan and Lily had always been lovers. They'd even had a wedding ceremony back in their hometown. Ryan had pursued me only to exploit my finances. Their plan was to milk me for money before getting married officially. That ill-fated rafting trip in my past life had ruined their scheme. When I was dying, Ryan had recounted all his sweet memories with Lily, only for me to realize, in my final moments, that I had been nothing more than a tool. With that bitter memory, I turned my head away, pretending not to notice their flirtation. The first section of the rafting course was relatively calm, with gentle drops and smooth bends. I had to admit, the scenery was stunning. The emerald green river was lined with dense forest, and the cool air was refreshing. Anna, didn't I say you were over-prepared? Lily called out smugly from the raft ahead of mine. The water isn't even fast here. She tossed me a mocking glance before removing her improperly secured life jacket during a calm section of the river. Lily and Ryan began splashing each other with water, their laughter echoing through the area. Soon, Lily's thin clothing was completely soaked, clinging tightly to her curves. Ryan's expression shifted noticeably. That moment, our rafts drifted into a dark cave. The space was pitch black, and Ryan took the opportunity to block my view as he pulled Lily into his arms and kissed her deeply. Though I couldn't see clearly, the sound of their lips and the exchange of saliva echoed embarrassingly in the silence. Even Ryan's friends turned their heads awkwardly. If we weren't here, they'd probably have turned this into some steamy river rendezvous. When the rafts emerged from the cave, Lily tried to act casual, smoothing her hair, but her swollen lips betrayed her. Anna, wasn't that fun? She said, looking at me with a provocative smile. I simply smiled back, saying nothing. The real show was yet to come. The calm stretches ended quickly as we approached an 80-meter drop. The river grew wild, with relentless rapids, countless sharp bends, and the enormous drop ahead. We had reached about 1/3 of the way through the rafting course. Lily, wanting to stay as close to Ryan as possible, completely ignored the safety instructions to sit at opposite ends of the raft for balance. A massive wave hit, flipping over several rafts, including ours. Help! Help! Lily's panicked cries echoed. The water here wasn't deep, barely reaching her chest, but she flailed helplessly, splashing around as if she were about to drown. I, along with everyone else, was tossed into the water. As I made my way back to the raft, I accidentally swallowed some water and began coughing violently. Ryan, however, didn't even glance my way. Without hesitation, he swam directly to Lily, helping her back to the raft and making sure she was secure. Ironically, Ryan only knew how to swim because I had paid for him to take lessons with the best instructor I could find, worried that he might one day face such a situation. And now, he was using the skills I funded to save another woman. That was so scary. Lily whimpered, trembling as she clung to Ryan like a boneless cat. If you hadn't been there, Ryan, I don't know what would have happened to me. Only then did Ryan seem to remember my existence. He glanced at me awkwardly, noticing I was still coughing. Anna, Lily's just never been in the water before. That's why she panicked. Don't take it the wrong way. We're totally innocent, he said, trying to justify himself. Why did you swallow water? Lily, seemingly realizing she needed to address the group, chimed in. Right. Anna, don't get jealous or anything. It was just a little accident, she added, laughing nervously. Of course not, I replied calmly, showing no emotion. You two have always been close, it's understandable. It was dangerous just now. Even I swallowed water. But it's a good thing Ryan reacted so quickly to save you. Lily, are you okay? Lily waved her hand dismissively, clearly uneasy. I'm fine, she muttered. Ryan's friends, who had been watching the scene unfold, gave me sympathetic looks. It was obvious they understood exactly what Ryan had just done, but I pretended not to notice and gripped the edge of the raft tightly. Brace yourselves. Another big wave is coming, called out. The next moment, our raft reached a nearly vertical drop. The raft plunged downwards, and Lily's shrill scream pierced the air. Judging by the duration of the fall, the drop was at least 200 meters. Torrential water poured over us, filling the raft within seconds. Before we could bail out the water, the powerful current pushed the raft towards a jagged cliffside. With a deafening crash, Lily and Ryan were both hurled out of their raft due to the force of the impact. My group was slightly luckier. Our raft collided with theirs, absorbing some of the impact. While we were flipped into the water, we weren't thrown out as violently. Lily and Ryan weren't so fortunate. The current flung them to the opposite side of the river. Lily's cheap helmet, as expected, shattered upon hitting the rocks. Sharp fragments cut her face, and blood quickly spread into the water. But she didn't even seem to notice the pain. Without a life jacket, she struggled desperately, choking on water as she fought to breathe. Ryan clung to a rock with one hand while grabbing Lily with the other. He screamed at the top of his lungs. Help! Somebody help us! Just like in my previous life, the rescue team was nowhere to be found. They must have taken a break. It wasn't a weekend, and there weren't many visitors today. While Ryan and Lily were closest to us, no one had the time or ability to help them. Everyone was focused on saving themselves. Ew, was thrown against a rock. Fortunately, the protective gear I'd purchased, my elbow and knee pads, prevented any injuries. After assessing the situation, I calmly instructed the others to take deep breaths, let their bodies float naturally, and hold their heads to protect themselves as they followed the current downstream to a calmer area. As we drifted with the current, I saw Ryan exerting every ounce of his strength to pull Lily towards him, in a selfless move, or perhaps a foolish one. He took off his own life jacket and helmet and handed them to her. I glanced at them briefly, my expression unreadable, before closing my eyes and bracing for the next drop. I didn't bother warning Ryan. In rapids this violent, even a strong swimmer wouldn't stand a chance without proper safety gear. We managed to climb back onto the raft at the next calm zone. This point, Ryan and Lily were also swept into the area, though not without consequence. Throughout the ordeal, Lily had clung to Ryan in fear, thrashing wildly in his arms, preventing him from navigating properly. In the chaos, Ryan's leg became lodged deeply in a crevice between rocks, directly beneath a steep drop. The raging water battered his body mercilessly. Lily, however, escaped relatively unharmed, thanks to the life jacket Ryan had given her. She floated effortlessly toward us, landing safely nearby. Anna, call for help. My leg is stuck, and I can't pull it out, Ryan screamed, his voice cracking in desperation. The rock pinning his leg appeared immovable, and the relentless waves continued crashing over him. He had already swallowed a considerable amount of water, coughing and sputtering between pleas for rescue. That moment, the rescue team finally arrived, their expressions grim as they surveyed the scene. One of them frowned and snapped. Why aren't you wearing your life jacket? And where's your helmet? The waiver you signed clearly stated that any injuries caused by not wearing safety gear are your responsibility. Lily, her face still streaked with tears, hurriedly interjected, "It's not his fault. The life jacket and helmet got damaged because of me." Ryan's face darkened as he gritted his teeth. After a brief silence, he growled, "Save me first. We'll deal with everything else later." The rescuer dove into the water and climbed onto the rock above Ryan, grabbing Ryan's arms. He tried pulling him free, but Ryan cried out in pain. "It's no use. My leg feels like it's going to break." The rescuer repositioned himself, attempting to pull Ryan from a different angle, but the crevice was unyielding. After more than 10 minutes of exhausting effort, sweat poured down the rescuer's face, yet Ryan's leg remained firmly trapped. "Help me. I don't want to die here," Ryan screamed. His voice filled with raw fear as the waves continued to batter him. His leg throbbed with pain, and panic set in. One of Ryan's friends couldn't hold back his anger. "Lily, this is all your fault. If you hadn't insisted on this ridiculous rafting trip, Ryan wouldn't be stuck here." Another friend, a boy in a yellow shirt, added, "Yeah, and if you hadn't been thrashing around so much, none of this would have happened." Faced with the mounting accusations, Lily began sobbing, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted Ryan to have some fun. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone." Despite his pain, Ryan somehow mustered the strength to comfort her. "It's not your fault, Lily. I don't blame you." His voice was weaker now, barely audible. Lily wiped her tears and gazed at Ryan with gratitude. "Thank you for understanding me, Ryan," she murmured, sniffling. At this point, I calmly held up my phone. "I've already called the police, but this place is so remote that it'll take them hours to get here. Let's see if we can pull Ryan out in the meantime." Lily, avoiding everyone's accusatory stares, muttered, "I don't think I'll be much help. I'm not strong enough. I'll just wait on the shore." She climbed onto the bank and sat down, ignoring the glances of disapproval from the others. Ryan's expression turned sour, his frustration and pain intensifying. Over the next few hours, we tried everything to free him. First, we attempted to shift the rock as a group, putting all our strength into it. But the boulder, likely shaped by years of natural erosion, didn't budge an inch. Our collective strength wasn't nearly enough. Someone suggested using smaller rocks to chip away at the large one, hoping it might break apart. We quickly gathered stones and began hammering at the boulder. However, after just a few strikes, Ryan let out a blood-curdling scream. "Stop! The force is going straight into my leg. It's unbearable." We climbed back onto the bank, regrouping to discuss our next move. This time, we tried pulling Ryan out together, but the massive force of the current nearly threw us off balance, sending us crashing back into the water. Worse still, Ryan's leg began bleeding profusely, the sharp edges of the crevice cutting deeper with every movement. Desperation began to set in. My voice trembled as I called out to him, tears streaming down my face. "What do we do, Ryan? If only we hadn't come on this rafting trip. If only I had stopped Lily from bringing you here. I should have stopped him. The moment Ryan took off his life jacket, I should have made sure he kept it on." Now, with his leg wedged in the rocks, his circulation was severely restricted. Tissue damage was the least of his worries. Prolonged pressure could lead to necrosis. Desperation and anger were etched on his pale face. "Lily, this is all your fault," he yelled at her, his voice hoarse. "And now you're just standing there watching." Gone was the gentle tone he usually reserved for her. "Your leg is attached to your own body, Ryan. It's not like I held a knife to your neck and forced you to come." Lily snapped back, defiant. Ryan fell silent, not because he didn't have a retort, but because he was too exhausted to argue. The icy water had sapped his strength, and his body was trembling uncontrollably. His skin had turned deathly pale, just as his consciousness began to fade. The rescue team arrived with professional equipment. They planned to use a drill to widen the crevice around Ryan's leg. But as soon as the drill made contact with the rock, Ryan screamed in agony. The vibrations drove fragments deeper into his leg, causing unbearable pain. "This won't work," Ryan cried out, his voice laced with desperation. "It hurts too much. It'll break my leg." The team switched to using a cutting tool to break the rock. However, the rock extended deep below the surface, and progress was painstakingly slow. Time was running out. The rescue leader, his expression grim, addressed Ryan. Son, we have two options. We can continue drilling to widen the crevice, which will hurt even more. Or we can amputate your lower leg. No. I just got accepted to a top-tier university. I can't lose my leg, Ryan shouted, clutching the rescuer's uniform as tears streamed down his face. Please, save me. You don't have much time left. Hypothermia and dehydration will kill you if you stay in the water any longer, the rescuer warned. Ryan's sobs quieted as the weight of the situation sank in. After a long silence, he whispered faintly, "Drill. Just do it." As the drill resumed, Ryan's screams echoed through the canyon. With each vibration, his pain intensified. Blood poured from his foot, staining the water around him a vivid red. His cries grew weaker and weaker until he finally lost consciousness, his body succumbing to hypothermia. After relentless efforts, the rescuers managed to free Ryan's mangled leg. It was no longer recognizable, a mess of flesh and shattered bone. We hurriedly placed his limp body on a stretcher and rushed him to an ambulance, leaving the treacherous mountains behind. Lily climbed into the ambulance as well. It was then I noticed the deep gashes on her face. The wounds appeared severely infected, and she had developed a fever. At the hospital, we were all thoroughly examined. Luckily, I and the others were declared healthy and discharged. Ryan, however, wasn't as fortunate. Prolonged lack of circulation and the contaminated water had caused severe tissue and nerve damage. The doctors determined that amputation was the only option to save his life. Outside the operating room, Ryan's parents were inconsolable. His mother fainted multiple times, while his father sobbed uncontrollably. Meanwhile, Lily's injuries left her face permanently scarred. Despite undergoing surgery to remove necrotic tissue, the damage was irreversible. Her wails of despair filled the hospital halls, a haunting echo of the price they paid for their choices. I took a taxi home that same night. In this life, my parents were both alive and well. As soon as I stepped through the door, still soaked from the rafting trip, tears welled up in my eyes, and I rushed to hug my mom tightly. "Mom, Dad, I've missed you so much." My mom held me gently, her voice warm and full of love. "Silly child. We just saw you a couple of days ago. Did the rafting mess with your head?" My dad chuckled, joining in. "Who upset our little princess? Tell me, and I'll sort them out." Burying my face in my mom's arms, I finally let out all the pent-up frustration and sorrow from both my past and present lives, crying freely. On the day of school registration, Ryan didn't show up. He was likely still recovering in the hospital. Eventually, his absence led to the school revoking his admission. Sometime later, Ryan's mom came to see me, pushing him in a wheelchair. She wanted me to take responsibility for him. I responded by showing her the video of Ryan and Lily's wedding banquet. "Auntie," I said coldly, "I know everything. If you insist that I take responsibility for him, I'll post this video online. Let everyone see what kind of son you've raised. A man who plays both sides." Ryan's face turned ashen. After a long silence, he and his mother left, their faces full of resentment. I went on to complete my graduate studies and take over my family's business. Meanwhile, Lily was forced by Ryan's parents to marry him. With his leg amputated, Ryan fell into despair, drowning himself in alcohol. When he got drunk, he would vent his frustration on Lily, blaming her for everything he had lost. In turn, Lily despised Ryan for being unable to provide for her, frequently berating him as useless. Their once loving relationship devolved into mutual hatred, turning them into enemies under the same roof. One day, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. It was Ryan. His voice was frantic, almost deranged. "Anna, why didn't you stop me from going rafting this time? I remember in the last life, you stopped me, and we lived so happily together. Why didn't you stop me?" I felt my anger bubble up as I replied coldly, "Ryan, you only remember half the story. Yes, we were happy for a time, and I even gave birth to your child. But you blamed me for Lily's death. You killed me, suffocating me in a toilet, stole my family's wealth, and left my parents and child to starve to death. Why would I ever help you again? You regretted not going rafting in the last life. So I just let you fulfill your wish in this one. This is the path you chose. Enjoy the life you and Lily have together. I gritted my teeth as memories of my tragic end in the previous life came flooding back. No, Anna, I love you. Ryan cried desperately. After Lily and I got married, her true colors came out. She spends all her time dancing and gambling. She's burned through all of my parents' money and still insults me every day, calling me worthless. I know I made a mistake. Please, give me another chance. His sobs were pitiful, but I didn't flinch. Enjoy the life you chose, Ryan, I said firmly before hanging up. Knowing he was suffering brought me immense satisfaction. The next day, the police called me with shocking news. Ryan was dead. Apparently, Lily had accumulated a massive gambling debt, and loan sharks had come knocking. The stress killed Ryan's parents, and Lily's constant abuse and the threats from debt collectors pushed Ryan over the edge. In a fit of rage, he hid a knife and stabbed Lily when she got close. Then, using the same knife, he ended his own life. After completing my statement at the police station, I received a message from my mom. Hurry home. Anna, I made your favorite sweet and sour ribs. Stretching lazily as I stepped outside, I basked in the warm sunlight. My life was just beginning.